All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Tucson. It is the Fresh Start Show with Dr. Holt and Tom Cortez, our co-hosts, and we are excited again for us coming together on this weekend, this Saturday morning. We want to thank all of our wonderful partners and supporters who comes out every single Saturday to support the Fresh Start Show. You hear us all the time. Get your favorite cereal. Go get your Frosted Flakes. Go get your Raisin Bran. Go get your Captain Crunch, your Apple Jacks, and your Fruit Loops, cream of wheat or oatmeal, however you like it, and your coffee or hot cocoa. Get up, get ready. It is the Fresh Start Show with Dr. Holt and Tom Cortez. We are excited for another edition of Fresh Start. We want to thank all of our partners and supporters who continually to support us every weekend and every year. Listen, this is a special weekend on this weekend, and we're here celebrating one of our most iconic civil rights heroes and figures, Dr. Martin Luther King. It is King's Weekend, and on January 15th, this coming Monday, will be his birthday and the day where we celebrate Dr. King's legacy. I am also the president of the IMA, the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance, which is an organization of African American churches from different denominations that comes under the umbrella of the IMA of Tucson. And I have the distinguished pleasure of serving in this capacity of being the president for almost 10 years. I cannot believe it. And we're going to be celebrating Dr. King's legacy on this coming Monday. So get ready. We'll be meeting at the marketplace over there with the new Walmart, and Costco, all that development over there, as we do every year around 8 o'clock. And we're going to be getting ready to do our march all the way from the marketplace down on Keno to 22nd Street. And we're going to march all the way up to Reed Park. So I always say, do not wear no Jordans. Do not wear no Air Force Ones. Your feet is going to be killing you. So get you some walking shoes, some walking Nikes or whatever, so you can be comfortable to do your thing. But yeah, we're going to be excited for Dr. King's legacy, and we're just looking for a great time of even at the park. We have dignitaries come out. We know Mayor Romero come out. I'm trying to think of some others. I think Adelita Grajova comes out, our chair of our board of supervisors. A few congressmen, Congressman Grajova, and some few other dignitaries will be out on Monday on the 15th. So today we will be celebrating the IMA Martin Luther King worship service on tonight, and I will be speaking. I'm doing my presidential address. So if you want to come out, never really heard me speak outside of Fresh Start, you would get a treat because you get to see more of the preaching side of me. So,
Amen.
And I'm loud, so you will have a good time. So come out and support. But we want to celebrate Dr. King's legacy. I have my better half with me in the studio. She didn't want to come under the mic and do anything today, but I am very, very honored to have my wife with me on today. Thank you so much, Nicia Jane. So you're going to be hearing that name out there, and it comes to books and music and all kind of great things she got going on.
Amen.
But most definitely, I'm happy to have her in the studio with us. So we're doing Martin Luther King. What does Martin Luther King's legacy mean for you, Tom? Or what were you thinking? Where were you at?
Wow, let me tell you, first and foremost, bro, one of the best meals of the year in prison, Martin Luther King Day, and one of the best meals we got every year. But besides that, the thing that moves me most about Martin Luther King, he said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Yeah.
And for us in prison, bro, and with the racial separations and all of those things, that was the one thing that brought us all together.
Yeah.
You know, that statement, right, in and of itself, if you treat them that way, you then you're going to think tomorrow you can treat me that way.
Yeah.
And we had to stand up.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm moved by that. And that's one of the most impactful things that I, not even I Have a Dream speech. It's, he was not just for black people. He was for all people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that the disenfranchised would not be recognized as being disenfranchised. They would be recognized with the same value that God looked at every life with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's whenever I read or hear, that's what I get from him. And that's it. That's what I'm moved by, everything that he presented.
Yeah. Dr. King is most definitely a prolific figure. A lot of people just see him as a civil rights leader. A lot of people don't realize he was the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church.
Got down.
In Atlanta, Georgia. And Dr. Martin Luther King also was more, I would say, probably very prophetic as a prophet than just only a civil rights leader. He wore many different hats. And I think it's important to also articulate during the life of Dr. King, he wasn't the most popular. The way we celebrate him now, we did not celebrate when he was living.
No.
He was a threat to many things. A threat to the FBI, all kind of different investigations. A threat to different other organizations in the black community as well. We know that for a time there was some tension between Malcolm X and Dr. King. Malcolm X thought Dr. King was too soft. In a lot of areas with his nonviolent approach, and Malcolm X, no, we need to get him. They get us, well, let's get them. But I think the thing that really stood out is answering to the call of God and his calling, and it was certainly a calling to take on the burden of the national issues of racism and discrimination, lynchings at this time, how it all kicked off with our civil rights movement with segregation, the Montgomery bus boycott, Rosa Parks saying, I'm not giving up my seat. A lot of times people don't understand this is what helped galvanize.
People don't even know today that there were
separate water fountains,
separate bathrooms.
A
lot of people don't even know Rosa Parks. They don't know what she did. You could not sit in the front of the bus if you were a black person.
You sure couldn't. And if a white person came in and wanted your seat, without question, you had to get up and go sit in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
And I don't really even think how we realize how blessed we are just to be able to come from that moment. And not only just a moment of sitting on the back of the bus, but then we end up becoming bus drivers, and then black folks end up becoming owning bus companies. And that's just amazing for where we have come from. And so we want to continue to keep Dr. King's legacy alive and let us not get amnesia, because we have gotten some strides, but man, we still got a whole lot of work to do, because we know that institutional racism is still real. We know that systemic racism is still real. We know segregation is still real, right? It may have been shot down to be unconstitutional for the Supreme Court, but do we have neighborhoods that's still segregated? Absolutely. Look at our school systems. You could tell that there's still segregation, right? Schools that is in the hood where there's a lot of black and brown, a lot of their schools is not proficient. A lot of those schools are not up to date, don't have a lot of the technology, sometimes don't have the right textbooks. Just basic supplies, right? So you still can tell a difference of schools that's in the hood versus schools that's in better neighborhoods. We also think of redlining and segregation, right? To where certain neighborhoods is zoned off with far as getting a mortgage and getting a banking loan. And I think we were just talking about, I think it was a few weeks ago, what was it, the Navy Credit Union or some credit union? Which was it? It was a military one.
Yeah, AARP, wasn't it?
I can't call it, but the example, I guess what I'm trying to say, is that they were denying African Americans loans. I think it was like 48% versus like 80%
Yeah.
of their white counterparts.
Yeah.
Just huge numbers of still to this day that if you're black, you're still being discriminated on just to be able to get a business loan, get a loan for your house, things like that. And I'm just bringing this stuff up because those are the issues that Dr. King was fighting about. Voter suppression.
Yeah.
People trying to intimidate you not to vote was an issue then. It is still a big issue now. So we all should be thankful for the legacy of what Dr. King brought to our nation.
I don't think kids today would march like the men did yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't believe you will have men walking arm in arm today. They wouldn't be able to put down their phone long enough,
Yeah.
and they can't put down their phone long enough to recognize their culture and their history and the things that have transpired.
Yeah.
And the men that have opened the doors for their futures to be what they have become.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there, many of those men, like Mr. King, laid down their lives in order to do so.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
And he's not the only one that did it. And
Right.
I mean, there's a bunch of kids today that need to get back in touch with their history
Yeah.
and back in touch to get to know these men of integrity that were fighting a battle that was completely vertical.
Yeah.
It wasn't uphill, bro. It was vertical.
Yeah.
The whole system was set against them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yet, they went out in the streets because there was a document that said we had the freedom of speech and the freedom of assembly and the freedom to gather together to express.
Yeah.
And people jumped on board with that, bro. I don't know how many people you could get today. I just don't. And I don't know how much we've changed from then till now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we had George Floyd, what, a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, several years ago. I mean, that's how much time have went by. And even with that, look how America goes right back, to regular norms, And we have made some great strides. We were able to get the Civil Rights Act. We were able to get the Voters Act. And those are major, iconic success stories because many black people and some whites, because we had white allies back then that was marching with our brothers and sisters, and they were attacked. Some were also killed because of the fact that they had lined up with us to fight this battle of fairness and equality and justice. Now, like I said, we did get some great strides. But we still got a whole lot of work to do. We still have men and women working the same job, getting a different salary, significantly. And I'm like, so it's not even just racism. We got sexism. All these isms out there, age isms, all these isms that are out there that Dr. King was fighting for. It's still a major situation to this day. And we want to make sure that that there is equality and there is justice in our country. And even with our mission with Fresh Start, we're trying to always help people coming out of prison get their lives back restored. And a Fresh Start is more, we're a restorative justice / reentry. We have this holistic approach on how we help people who've been formerly incarcerated. And this is important too, because the fact that, you go to prison, you get a felony, you have a hard time getting a job, you have a hard time getting housing. And we still, I don't even think as Fresh Start, we even went into articulating the fact that in some states, if you are in prison, it brings you back into slavery. You out there, out in fields.
Oh my goodness! I was just telling my wife yesterday about being on the gun gangs, hooked up to chains with these men with shotguns on horses. And that does exist.
Yeah, it does exist. And it's legal in some states.
I picked cotton for 6 cents an hour. In the early 1980s. For 6 cents an hour.
That is still going on in certain states, and it's illegal. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand, that it's actually illegal to be in prison and get these low-level type of contracts that they have inmates working on those contracts for pennies,
Yeah.
while people are getting rich for free labor. That's slavery.
Yeah, and this
That's
system
slavery.
used to support itself. There used to be a slaughterhouse. There used to be the dairy, the farms. I
Yeah.
mean, Arizona Department of Corrections had a lot of money coming into it from the Arizona Department of Corrections.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, it can support itself.
Oh, most definitely. Oh, most definitely. And that's when Michelle Alexander, she wrote the book called The New Jim Crow. You got to get that book. That book is very powerful. She talked about the blacks in the justice system, and she traced it back to slavery, where we police officers are hired as police mobs to go after slaves and things of that nature, to today when we're talking about the unfair practices of how African American people of color have been indicted, have been arrested, have been racially profiled. I mean, yeah. So you most
People of
definitely,
poverty.
yeah.
Just
yeah.
people in poverty are just targeted
that too.
because
That too.
you can't defend yourself.
Yeah.
You don't
yeah.
have the financial wherewithal
Yeah.
to set up any defense.
Yeah.
So you're dependent on a system that's been broken for a long
Yeah,
time
yeah.
and has never represented your group of people to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to fight for this guy, but I'm going to sell these guys out.
Yeah, most definitely. There's two classifications. One on race and there's one on class. So one on class is talking about the finances piece, right? So you can even be white, and you don't have certain monies to hire counsel, legal counsel. Most definitely you're gonna get done in the regular. But make no mistake, there's most definitely an issue with just race in our justice system that we see time in and time out, and it impacts both of our statuses when it comes to the justice system, and so we do have to continue to push our narrative, push our agenda, speak truth to power, and if we are scaring you, good. If we are lighting a fire under your tail, good, because somebody got to speak up and tell the powers that be that we got to get changed.
And you know what? It's really cool, bro. And I was just thinking about it as you were speaking. Fresh Start actually took color away. Because in that courtroom, that judge said, "Who's here from Fresh Start?" She didn't say, "Who's here from the barrio? Who's here from the east side? Who's here from a wealthy family?"
Yeah.
She said, "Who's here from Fresh Start?" And it didn't matter, black, Hispanic, white, me, everybody got what they asked for that day.
And you're right, because at the end of the day, whether you're white, black, or brown, when you get a felony, it's impacting every last one of you.
Yeah.
Every last single one of you. Right?
Yeah.
It's like when you get that, it's almost like a tattoo.
Yeah.
A branding
Yeah.
that is on you, that once you get that F on your history, it impacts everybody.
Yeah, and I can make a really ugly statement, bro, and say, because I got a felony, they made me black.
Right? I know what you mean.
I mean, but that's real.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden...
Because when you white and you get that felony, you began to get a little taste of what it's like to be African American in this country.
Mhm.
And I will also say sometimes it's almost traumatizing to actually be black. Yeah, in America.
Yeah.
Because of all the stigma. We don't get the benefit of the doubt like other people. My wife asked me yesterday, and I didn't really go into it when I got back from my trip. I finally dressed business casual in my travel. My wife, no, I never do that. So it was very obvious when I come in a business casual outfit coming home. She was like, why do you have on your regular clothes? I know what she meant. I would usually have a hoodie. I'm like this. That's how I travel, right? But what I never really articulated is I'm treated different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm treated different.
That's right.
I notice when I go and get into business select, because I am a business select. I can be dress hood, but I am business select in Southwest, which is I'm like A1, right? Executive.
Yeah.
So, but I don't look like it.
Right.
Right? So I have experience where I got into the priority line in business select. They say, that's the priority line, right? I'm looking. Who are they talking to? No, we're talking. You do know you are in the priority line, Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that. Is there a reason why you? In other words, I know what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know, based on how like I should have been in general
Yeah.
in the general line, but they didn't realize who I was.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I shouldn't have to say who I am because I got hood clothes on or I'm African American. Right? It's not because I can't afford business clothes, because I wear business clothes when I'm working on the stage, right?
Yeah.
It's just I like to be comfortable, right? I don't want to wear dress shoes and dress socks and dress pants all the time when I'm traveling. I like to be comfortable. The whole point why I'm bringing this up is we don't get the benefit of the doubt like other people, right? When
That's
people
right.
look at us, I mean, I'm just talking about the airline.
I'm just talking about us going to the jail and you speaking, and they thought I was the doctor and you were you were the ex-con.
You're exactly right. We forgot all about that. You sure right about that. So we even shocked them. Wow, you brought that up. You're right. I forgot about that. They did thought you was Dr.
They
O'Reilly.
thought I was the doctor because I was dressed. He was wearing sweat.
I was just like this.
They expected this guy to start talking about in prison, and he starts talking like a doctor, and they're like,
Well, who's on it? You're right about that.
Yeah.
So that goes back to what I've been saying, right?
Exactly.
So a lot of times as African Americans, we don't get that benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Like two brothers walk in and immediately they assumed you was Dr. Hope,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Until they heard me speak, they're like, oh, this dude know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, this is, but just for a moment,
yeah.
without hearing me and
Appearance.
knowing me, just the appearance, seeing an African American
Yeah.
man and sometimes African American women,
Yeah.
you don't get that benefit of doubt. And that's what we're saying about we have to live in this skin 24 hours.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, right?
Yeah.
Sunday to Sunday, January to January. You know, we have to live in the skin. And it does come with a lot of prejudice, you know, and people just don't know until you help them to know.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm a huge fan of Candace Owens and the way that she speaks about living in this skin 24/7,
Yeah.
and all of these people judging how I live in my skin when you've never lived in it
You
for
never
me.
lived in it, right.
You've never had to walk in my shoes. You've never had to be confronted at a counter or anything where somebody just automatically treats you as a second-class citizen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've had situations to where I think I was at the time I had a contract with Tucson Unified, and some of us would have two TUSD shirts, and a young lady said, "You work for TUSD?" I said, "Yeah, I work for TUSD." She said, "Are you a bus driver?" Wow, I'm a bus driver. No, I'm a doctor. Like, do I look like what? And what does a bus driver look like?
Yeah.
So it's just all of those types of stereotypes
Yeah.
and things of that nature that we have to continue to keep pushing that barrier and pushing through. Work on equity, work on diversity, inclusion, and equity, DEI departments. We've even, like in Florida, like DEIs are pretty much against the law. You can't even go in there and talk about equity and things of that nature without a strong pushback. So it just lets us know, Tom, that we still got a lot of work to do. And I always say that Jesus came to die for sin and not skin. And a lot of times we get so caught up on our skin color and things of that
Comparisons.
nature. But no, man, at the end of the day, if both of us bleed and it mix, you can't tell if it came from a white man or a black man. It's the same. So
You know how to feel love. I know how to feel love. You know
Yeah.
how to feel pain. I know how to feel pain. But we've experienced different love and different pain.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
just respect each other
Yeah.
and find out what that is,
yeah,
because
man.
it strengthens both of us.
Keep loving. All right, we are down to less than 1 minute, Tom. What we got going on, sir?
Market on the
What's your
Move
sheet?
starts at 8 o'clock. Amphi Bible Church right now. Get on out there. Up to 60 pounds of fresh produce for $10 donation. Come on out, volunteer. Come on out and got a box. You can share it and promote community.
Nice. You heard it. So go out, get those resources. Those resources are out there. Please remember, Fresh Start this year, 2024, will be October 19th at the TCC from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. already. So we're looking for a great time. We look forward to seeing you. Come on out and join us on the MLK service on tonight at the Rising Star Baptist Church. We're looking for a good time. We want to thank everyone for joining us every Saturday morning at 106 The Groove, 7:30 a.m. To get a good fresh word at Fresh Start. All right, then, we're out. God bless. Have a wonderful week.